Magic politics got you down. Quality of cardstock not up to par. Well, you're still doing better than Yu-Gi-Oh, and here I'm going to tell you why. Konami killed this game just like their other franchises. Good going on Castlevania, Metal Gear Solid. Oh, and how'd Survive go, by the way? Yu-Gi-Oh was actually the first trading card game I honestly had played, even before I touched Magic the Gathering, and even before I really played Pokemon. So this is coming from a player and a seller's point of view. And yes, this is going to be a pretty negative video because I don't have much love left for Yu-Gi-Oh, if I even have any left. That's the honest truth. So the power creep. You deal with the best deck being the best of the best for roughly 6 to 8 months, and then it gets hit and banned, and then the deck that was below it on the power creep list just slowly trickles up to the first spot, unless for some magical reason they actually banned cards in that deck, which they don't usually do. That's just how it's always been within the game. You cannot play a rogue deck and expect to win. It has to be some kind of tier deck, or it has to be something that's got such a high matchup in the meta. Big difference is that in Magic Gathering, you've got how many different formats? In Yu-Gi-Oh, you've got one format. You cannot go, oh, well, this set looks really good to draft, I think I'm going to draft, or I'm really not enjoying facing the meta right now, so I think that I'm going to swap formats, and maybe there's something else that I could play. You can't do that in Yu-Gi-Oh, there's one format, and of course, there's a couple side formats like GOAT and cubing, but really, who wants to cube? And on top of that, all of the cards that are in those formats are older. They're not actually new most of the time, unless for some magical reason someone opens like 3 cases and just puts it all in a cube, which doesn't ever happen. In Magic, you can just say, I want to drop $5,000 on a deck because I don't like how Standard's going. In Magic, you can go, oh, well, I'm really enjoying this specific card and it's not being utilized well in X format, so I'm going to swap to Y format so I can actually play a deck that's based around it and create a creative piece of artwork. No, you can't do that in Yu-Gi-Oh. Sorry. So the best explanation I really have for this is Zodiacs. The deck came out, it was right around $600 when it first came out, and then everything got reprinted in a collector's tin, and the deck was worth about $60. It went from being $600 deck, you know what, I'll even bump it up generously. It was about a $60 deck that went to about $80. So it was right around 8 months, as far as I can remember. A reprint run made a deck of drop like $500 in value. Yes, welcome to Yu-Gi-Oh. If you want to be a competitive player, you have to have money for this game. If you want to be a competitive player, you have to repurchase decks every 6 months to a year if you're really trying to stretch it out. But if you're playing a meta deck, if you're playing, say, a tier 1 deck or even a tier 0 deck, if that's in your format like Necroz's was, you have to actually drop a lot of money on this game. Once it gets hit and banned to shit, you're going to have to initially repurchase a brand new deck, besides staples, of course, like Raigeki, Black Hole, Dark Hole, not Black Hole. Where did I get that from? The initial general staple cards within the game. And of course, like I said, with no multiple formats, once that deck is done, you're either going to A, try to sell it for maybe the $80 you can get for it, or you're going to just put it in a white cardboard box and it's going to never be played or touched again. Another point that I want to make is nothing old holds value. Nothing. Even these cards that I'm holding in my hand right now, these are first edition Legend of Blue Eyes Exodia pieces. And yes, altogether the set is thousands of dollars, but the problem is that it never goes up in value. Even sets, there are very few sealed sets in Yu-Gi-Oh that actually hold value. These are years and years and years old. Yes, at this point, one structure deck like this is worth about $50 each, and I might have a cube behind me. But that's still nothing in the world of, say, Magic, where you've got a set that's just sitting there that's $800. There's no $800 sets in Yu-Gi-Oh! There's never been and there never will be. Sealed is a tragedy, and so are singles. Magic the Gathering Sealed is based on draft purposes, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Sealed is based on, well, just hoping you open the money card of the set, hoping that you make your profit back, because boxes in Sealed in general are too overpriced. You expect me to pay $80, and when there's one card in the set that's worth, say, $30 to $50, and everything else is bulk, and in, say, 3 months, all those cards will drop in price because you'll probably reprint them in 6 months anyway? Nothing in the game holds a financial value. Singles and Sealed are pointless. So these comments aren't really pointed towards LGS goers or casual players. I mean super meta players like Bandit Keith. Toxicity is presented in every community, it's unavoidable. But the issue was that the toxic players had more dominance in the community more than the casual players. Konami is rewarding them for being toxic, for spending all of their time and money into the company because they keep winning. And there's this psychology that's developed in the community that winning is the only thing that is important. Okay, so in Magic the Gathering you have those bad apples, in Pokemon you have those bad apples, in Vanguard you have those bad apples, but it is nothing like Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! You can't go to, say, a YCS or regional and not deal with cheaters. There's such a huge percentile of how many cheaters are within the game. And these cheaters aren't just cheaters, they have such bad attitudes because they think so highly of themselves and their friends because they're good at a dying game. Congratulations, let me get you a medal. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the worst game that I've played in regards to the community and females in gaming. And then you get into the community in general. Yes, there's some really great and genuine players, but most of the players are tryhards and get really salty. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is like the ocean, it's ridiculous. Especially when they lose to a girl. I have so many horror stories about the way that I was treated in Yu-Gi-Oh! Outside of my general playgroup, and my general playgroup was amazing. I had such warm and welcoming people that taught me the game initially. So in Yu-Gi-Oh! I was not nearly as competitive that I am in Magic. I mean, I didn't like to go to bigger events, I didn't like to pick up a super fast deck or a super good or meta deck. It just wasn't my thing. I just wanted to have fun and enjoy my time within the game because I was initially invested into it. I didn't want to look at new games. I liked my general play group. I was younger at the time. When I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh! I was pretty young because it was the first TCG that I ever played even before Magic. And every time I won, it seemed like someone would get super mad, pick up their stuff super fast, ignore me, and go and complain to their friends. Once I was playing at my LGS and I was doing pretty good. We were in round 4, I was 3-0, and the person I was facing was 3-0. I was playing Raccoons and he was playing Cleeforts. It's pretty self-explanatory, but I was playing I first turned him, or second turned him actually, a Naturia Beast and a Crimson Blader and locked him out. He couldn't summon anything, and he couldn't play any spells, which pendulums are spells. He scooped, we went to game 2, and I beat him again turn 2, or maybe even turn 3 that time, and he picked up, and he was pretty okay. I mean, this was a super, not casual player. He was a super competitive player. And he got up and I was like, yeah, guys, I won. Woohoo! And his friends just looked at him like dead expressions, like, really? You lost? And he's like, I'll win next round. It's only round 3. And they're like, no, man, it's round 4. And his mood instantly changed and he got super pissed off. He's like, what the hell? I thought that was round 3. I just got beat by a girl. He got so mad. He just left. Because, I mean, I got his top spot, and for some reason, he got kicked out of tops, which I don't understand. I still don't understand how Yu-Gi-Oh! Pairings work, because for some reason, it's different than Magic, it seems like, and maybe it was just the system we were using. But anyway, he didn't get in tops for some reason. It was really bizarre. I think it was because it was like a 7 or 8 man tournament. I don't remember. It goes to show, even if you know people, they get really salty and much more triggered when they lose to a girl. Or maybe it was because I totally sucked. Who knows? I don't, and I guess I never will because I never see him anymore. I also had some people in Yu-Gi-Oh! Actually stalk me, like went to every tournament I would go to, constantly give me free stuff, message me on social media on the time. I mean, when I stopped playing, I was happy because I didn't have to deal with these people anymore, but it was super creepy. And when I was a TO, it was dreadful to deal with people during every tournament that I had to run, because these people, if this person specific, would almost go to every event that I would go to. It was super creepy, and he'd always just sit there and talk to me, and he wouldn't actually play in the tournament half the time. It was just a bad situation, but I've never came across that in Magic the Gathering. Maybe it's community differences, maybe it's just that person differences. I can't tell you either way. TO was cheating. Never mind non-TOs and just players. Yu-Gi-Oh just all around sucks. So the ban list. The ban list is pretty straightforward. A lot of people have problems with the ban list because there's no actual dates for the ban list. It could be December and it could say, oh, the next time there will be a ban list is in April. So look back then. It doesn't actually say when the ban list is going to be, the date. It doesn't say any of that. So if you are going to a regionals or a YCS or a big event, I should say, within that time period, you probably want to have 2 decks ready. The deck you're playing and your backup deck, because who knows if your deck will actually be relevant or not. I mean, it's such a headache. This is why people don't initially want to invest in Yu-Gi-Oh, because they could buy a deck and it could get instantly banned. I remember doing that. I bought a tier 1 deck and I played it in one tournament and it got banned. Everything in it got banned. It wasn't good anymore. That was Ritual Beast. That's when Kanahawk was actually banned, and I still have that deck to this day, even though I don't play Yu-Gi-Oh, and oh, it's sad. I was very sad. I spent so much money on that deck and then it got banned a week later. Oh, the joys of Yu-Gi-Oh! And the last topic, the intro into the game. I think that the game is just, in general, too difficult for new players. I mean, you've got basic monsters, tribute monsters, flips, pendulums, synchros, Xyz, links, rituals. I mean, there are so many different things and so many different mechanics, and every 3 years or so they come out with something new usually. Like last year they came out with links, like 2 or 3 years before that they came out with pendulums. They're not consistently sticking to any of the mechanics they're actually making, and it just makes new players have to learn more things. And yes, if you've already played Yu-Gi-Oh, you're probably going to be able to adapt to the new mechanics a lot easier, because it's just easier because you already know what's going on. But if you're a new player coming into the game with like 10 different mechanics, it's super confusing, and I understand that. Right now, if I tried to relearn Yu-Gi-Oh, I'd have to relearn links, and I barely even remember pendulums, because there's literally so much, and they changed the board. They even added new board zones on for all these things, so the board's constantly changing, the game's constantly changing. It's just not new player friendly, and it's not returning player friendly either. So Yu-Gi-Oh sucks harder than a vampire. Don't fall for it. Don't play it. Just play something else or collect dice like I do, because dice are so much better than Yu-Gi-Oh. Dice are so much better than Yu-Gi-Oh. Just me? Okay, never mind. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications if you enjoyed and want to watch more of my content. If you want to support me in what I do here on YouTube, ways such as my Patreon are linked in the descriptions of every video I make. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll talk to you guys again really soon.